This video is brought to you by Pandawill.com. Pandawill sells thousands of electronics directly from China, including the ZTE Nubia Z7 Mini. Please be sure to check them out using the links in the video description. Alright, so here's my full review of the ZTE Nubia Z7 Mini. To start, it's available in both black or white. Although the back cover is plastic, it feels really great and premium in the hand. It does a nice job at resisting scratches, but collects fingerprints very easily. The Nubia branding on the back looks very nice, and I really like the look of the iconic silver and red contrast. The camera is on the top left, alongside one of the two microphones. The speaker is on the bottom left, while the headphone jack is on the top right. The micro USB port is on the bottom right, next to the second microphone. The power and volume buttons are on the right side of the phone, and both have very good tactile feedback. The power button seems to be perfectly positioned for one-handed use, and the volume keys are within reasonable reach. The 5-megapixel front-facing camera is on the top right of the device, and the 3 capacitive buttons are near the bottom. The center circle is always visible, and functions as the home key. It also functions as a notification LED. A clever use, given the amount of phones that ship with a standalone LED. The other two buttons are just small circles so that the user can actually change the function if they do not wish to have the standard layout. While it is somewhat confusing at first, I applaud ZTE for giving users this option. I can live with having unlabeled keys for the option to customize the functions. The phone feels very nice in the hand, mostly thanks to its thickness of just 8.2 millimeters. It also weighs in at 146 grams. The call quality of the ZTE Nubia Z7 Mini was about average on both the AT&T US and Verizon Wireless US networks. This phone includes support for 4G LTE and CDMA networks. It should work with 4G LTE in many areas since it supports both FDD LTE bands 1, 3, and 7, and also TD LTE bands 38, 39, and 40. It does work with Verizon Wireless in the United States, but only up to 3G. 4G LTE is unfortunately unsupported.
Welcome to Verizon Wireless. Para español, oprime la estrella. Main menu. For your minutes and usage or your account balance, press 1. Payments, 2. Technical support, 3. Other options, 4. Press 1 to add money to your account. Press 2 to check your account balance. Press 3 for account information. Press 4 for promotion information. Press 9 for customer service. To repeat these menu options, press the star key. Or to end this call, please hang up. There are currently no promotional announcements for your area. Press 1 to add money to your account. Press 2 to check your account.
Interestingly, this phone also supports 802.11 AC Wi-Fi, the newest standard which newer phones are starting to include support for. This is very nice to see, although you will need an 802.11 AC Wi-Fi router to take advantage of the improvements. Although the name may lead you to believe differently, the ZTE Nubia Z7 Mini features a 5-inch 1080p sharp display. It's coated in Corning Gorilla Glass 3, so it's very difficult to scratch. Overall, the display is gorgeous, everything is very sharp, the blacks are very deep, and color reproduction is top-notch. It also has excellent viewing angles and even respectable sunlight readability. You can adjust the brightness manually in the notification shade, something that is very nice to see in addition to automatic brightness. The speaker on the ZTE Nubia Z7 Mini sounds okay, but it does get slightly distorted at full volume. It is fairly loud, but I almost always had to keep the volume lower to retain audio quality. When setting the device down on a table or other flat surface, it does just about as well, thanks to the small supports near the edges of the speaker grill. The 13-megapixel Sony IMX214 Mark II CMOS rear camera took some very nice images. It does have an f2.0 aperture and the capability of recording 4K Ultra HD video. The camera continued to impress me throughout the review period. The images it took were very clear, sharp, and well focused. I did record some sample 4K videos, but to see that in full resolution, please use the link in the description. This clip has been reduced to 1080p. This device runs Android 4.4.2 KitKat, also with version 2.5.3 of Nubia UI. While I usually enjoy trying different Android skins, Nubia UI is some of the worst software that I've tested. There are a few things I enjoy about it, but there are so many problems with it. I do like how you can customize the button layout, activate many different gestures including double tap to wake, and also use sleep mode, which is similar to quiet hours. I did find multitasking mode to be a nice addition as well. Almost everything else feels like a step backwards. There are a lot of minor problems, but when you add all of those minor problems up, you're left with a poor experience. A lot of design changes appear to have not been well thought out, as they often create confusion and issues for the average user. For example, unlocking the phone and launching the camera both require a swipe up. I often find myself swiping too far up and accidentally launching the camera when I meant just to unlock the phone. The notification shade also has a drawer of quick toggles on the bottom. Expanding that drawer requires the user to drag up on the handle. If you drag even just a little bit above or below the handle, the whole notification shade is hidden. So whenever I would go to the notification shade to interact with the toggles, I had to be very careful not to hide the entire shade by accident and have to try again. It's a very poor design choice that could have been easily resolved with a separate tab for toggles. I was also disappointed with the amount of bugs plaguing this phone. The launcher added duplicate icons for everything I downloaded. The YouTube app doesn't work until after clearing the data and performing a reinstall. The system apps constantly crash, and a recent system update actually prevented my phone from connecting to Wi-Fi. Although some of these things are minor, they can't be easily fixed and made me want to pull my hair out. I took the version 1.6.2 software update thinking it would fix some of these issues, but I was instead left with a phone that couldn't even connect to Wi-Fi. I had to do a complete factory reset and lost all of the Pandawill pre-installed Google apps. The launcher shows all installed apps and has duplicate icons for downloaded apps. I'm assuming that this is a bug, but it is very annoying regardless. The phone also ships with quite a bit of bloatware, which ZTE hilariously puts in a folder called Recommendations. Luckily, you can remove these apps. Finally, the phone has some strange animations. When opening the multitask menu, an animation would show the current app moving towards the bottom, the default location for inactive apps in Android, and then the phone would play a different animation showing the app moving towards the center. It's minor, but when you open this menu dozens of times per day, it gets really annoying. The gestures to close and lock the apps are also pretty buggy. Sometimes they work and other times they don't. Although Pandawill ships the phone with Google apps and services pre-installed, the stock firmware does not include these apps. That means if you want to update to the latest firmware, you will need to give up these apps. It is possible to flash a Google Apps zip file through custom recovery, but that does require taking a few advanced steps. A more desirable solution is to flash a custom ROM, such as MIUI or CyanogenMod. I have created a tutorial video on how to do this, so please check it out using the link in the description. It isn't too difficult, but it can be time consuming, especially if you don't really know what you're doing. Powered by the quad-core Qualcomm Snapdragon 801 clocked at 2 GHz with the Adreno 330 GPU, the ZTE Nubia Z7 is one of the fastest phones that I have ever tested. After testing the phone in Antutu, the ZTE Nubia Z7 earned a score of 36,320. While it does rank behind many popular flagship smartphones, the actual performance on this device is quite good. There is 2 GB of RAM, which should be plenty for multitasking. It easily handled every game I threw at it, including graphic-intensive games like Asphalt 8 Airborne and Leo's Fortune. This phone includes 16 GB of internal storage, but also has a microSD card expansion slot that supports up to 64 GB. The GPS on the ZTE was very accurate and fast to lock. Like all modern Chinese smartphones, GPS was not an issue. Battery life is where this phone struggles. The 2300 mAh battery just isn't enough to make it through a full day of moderate to heavy use. The 1080p display quickly decreases the battery life, and I'm almost certain that the high-performance processor doesn't help either. I found it difficult to make the phone last a full day, and it usually died at around 5 p.m. unless I kept it in my pocket for the most of the day. Battery statistics show that I was able to get just under 3 hours of screen-on time. If you purchase the ZTE Nubia Z7 Mini from Pandawill, you will receive ZTE documentation, a Pandawill Quick Start Guide, a USB cable, and an AC adapter. This phone offers some of the best hardware for the price: a 5-inch 1080p display, Snapdragon 801 processor, and Sony IMX camera are all difficult to find on a phone that costs less than $300. If you're buying for the display, performance, or camera, and are willing to either deal with the software issues or flash to custom ROM, then this phone is a great option. If the software experience is more important though, and you aren't concerned about getting the latest and greatest hardware, then you may want to look at phones with a better software experience. ZTE could fix many of the issues that I mentioned in the future, but as it stands, the software feels very unpolished. The battery life could also be a concern if you want it to last after a full day of use. Other than that, the carrier support, display, performance, and camera are all great reasons to buy this phone. If you are interested in the ZTE Nubia Z7 Mini, be sure to check the links in the description to view it on Pandawill. Thank you for watching, and please make sure to like, comment, and subscribe to see more phone unboxings and reviews.